thank you for inviting me to start with. ROCKWOOL and therefore Groden, which is part of ROCKWOOL, and that's actually the operational company I'm in, is normally measuring NPS once a year. However, as a customer experience professional, I really believe that you should continuously listen to your customers, and not only when complaints occur or when the NPS is done once a year. So this is maybe a story of ROCKWOOL, and therefore, yeah, mainly Groden, because we are a little bit upfront of everyone within the ROCKWOOL company. But it's also a general customer experience management story in that sense. So just to give you that perspective. And before I'm going to introduce myself, I just want to show you this short movie, and I hope it's working and that the sound is working.
There is no sound. I can
There
see
is no
the
sound?
No, I can see the movie, but there is no sound.
All right. Well, this is actually a movie that is explaining the role of customer experience management within Groden and how feedback is used for our customers, and that we are improving based on their feedback. Maybe it's an idea that that I will send you the link to this movie afterwards as part of the slide deck, maybe. Mm-hmm. And it's generally available when you look into YouTube and you look for Groden customer experience, then you probably immediately find it. Not only in English though, so make sure that you have the English version. That's unfortunate that it was not working. Sorry about that. So then I need to move to the next slide there, and that's me. So who am I? I'm a certified customer experience professional. Back in the day, I actually started. Sorry
for interruption. I still have a picture of the movie on my screen.
Oh.
So I'm not in your storyboard.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
Me neither.
You stopped the video after 15 seconds, and that's the screen I have.
The same for me. I get. Do you work with different screens?
No, I don't. I just have one screen right now. Let's see if this is working.
I'm back.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, yeah, good. Okay. Now I see your face. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay. No problem. Good to tell me about it. Sorry about the movie that it was not working. But here is the introduction. Like I just mentioned, I'm a certified customer experience professional, so that's where the CCXP stands for. And back in the day, I was a consultant in business process management, and there I became a lean green belt as well, which is, yeah, quite handy to have that knowledge within this field of expertise. I went to university, so I'm MC as well, and yeah, the alumni, I don't know if you know Nijrode Business Universiteit in the Netherlands, but yeah, that is where I studied, and I also studied at Hotel School The Hague. So I have a hospitality background, which you can also see from a professional perspective, and I pretty much have been raised by Hilton and Disneyland Paris. So and yeah, I think looking back, the red line through my career is pretty much customer experience in that sense. I'm married with Johan, and a very proud mom of Lucas. He's 3.5 years old right now. I really love to dance. If I did not go for my studies on Hotel School The Hague and Nijrode, then I probably would be dancing somewhere. So that was pretty much the option I had, and I made a choice for hospitality back then. And I like to explore, and yeah, above the surface and beneath it. So that's why I also am satisfied, certified with PODI, so I can dive just to 12 meters. So it's not that deep, but yeah, deep enough to see the beauty of the sea below the surface. So this is a little bit about who I am. Now we can really get going. I hope if my screen wants to do what I want to do. There. So what I'm going to discuss today with you is the background. Where does this all come from? What are transactional measurements? Why is it important to do this? And what are we expecting to get from this? And yeah, things that you really need to take into account. Maybe there are some open doors, but maybe it also raises some questions. So please do ask if needed. So just a little bit of background. Back in 2017, it was actually the year for Groden to become aware of the customer experience. In that year, there was a project which showed us the end-to-end journey, and not only from the contact moments perspective from the customer, but also how do they feel about it. Are they satisfied? Do we exceed expectations, or are we going down the drain, sort of say? And that gave the management team quite some insights, which were sometimes even confronting. And based on that project, people thought of ideas to make the experience better. However, not that long after, also the MT became aware you need some guidance in this, and this is not something you do next to your daily job. It is you really need somebody coordinating this, leading this, helping us to make this happen on a structural basis. So that's actually where my job is coming from. So I started halfway 2018, and that was also the moment that I started to pick up some things I saw from that first project, and follow up on them to create commitment within the organization. But also get a sense of how is this organization working. And what I found out very soon is that people were looking at touch points on their own and not in line of the full journey. And that is something really important to take with you, looking at customer experience management, because the whole journey is a sum of all the touch points, of course, the contact moments in that sense, and they should add up. And yeah, it's not that one moment can make the difference on its own. Maybe there needs to be something happening up front or after to create that 9+. And so, by the way, I'm already using quite some jargon here. Is everybody still on board, or do I need to explain some wording?
For me, it would be quite helpful to just tell me a few sentences. So.
Okay, and what was not fully clear?
Pardon?
What was not fully clear yet?
You're writing down the year of the customer experience awareness was in 2017.
Yeah.
2 years later, you launched the strategy.
Yeah,
so
that was really, yeah.
2 years. Is it? How is your experience in that? Does it always take 2 years to have a strategy, or is it the ROCKWOOL story, or what is it?
This is definitely the Groden story. Just for your perspective, I started in 2018 and then halfway 2018. And in the beginning of 2019, the strategy was launched. So it looks like 2 years, but it's a little bit less. But the whole thing started with a project to create insight in the end-to-end customer journey. And that means that okay, how does a year being a customer at Groden looks like? What phases is the customer going through? What contact moments do we have? How does that process look like from a customer perspective?
Okay.
And that is the tangible stuff. And then when it comes to the experience, where do we exceed the expectations, and where do we need to do something to reach satisfaction or exceed expectations? That came clear in that sense. However, that research on itself does not make the change. So people created some actions on particular moments that were most important to the customer, and that is the follow-up on those first insights in 2018. So they made it more practical. However, when I came in a half year later, I saw that people were really focusing on one of those moments within the full journey. So if there is a journey with maybe five steps, they were looking at one step, not looking at what needs to happen up front or what needs to happen after. So how is the expression again? The whole is better than the sum of parts. That principle, that has not been taken a thought for, and that is what I saw. I made the picture. I made an as-is situation in the second half of 2018, and thereon I based my strategy on customer experience, which was the beginning of 2019.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
As I can see, it's a lot of contact, and it's for that a short. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Well, then I hope. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So that is actually the history we've been through so far. And the slide you're seeing here right now is how I explained customer experience and customer experience management towards my colleagues. Because actually they started like, okay, we really need to get going on customer experience. But we do not know actually by heart what it means. Please, Gerda, tell me what is needed, and then you need context. So that is where this slide is coming from. So it's really about all the customer that can perceive from us, and that also includes your product and your pricing. But eventually, when it goes below the surface, it is everything you do. Where is the customer going through, and how does he think about that, and therefore feel about it? And there you can find out what is most important and most relevant to your customer to define those moments of truth, the moments that you really need to excel for your customer. So that strategy, and this is really the headline because there are more details beneath it, but basically it consists out of five pieces, call it like that. It's about understanding your customer, the context, and also what they feel are really that is really important. So their drivers, what is their pain, what is their gain. Knowing that gives you insight in where you need to change if you want to change, because of course there needs to be a win-win situation for the organization and the customer. And then you need to find out like, okay, how are we organized right now? And what do we need to change to create that customer experience that we really would like to make happen? And eventually you can really functionally design things within your organization in processes, systems, communication, etc. But it all comes down, does the customer feel it as well when he interacts with us? So that is really about the interpersonal connection in that sense. So how do we act towards the customer? And that also means something that you need to act in a certain way between one another, so between the colleagues. So this strategy contains out of it's actually the umbrella for the approach, which consists of three main parts: customer journeys, reinforcements, or embedment, whatever you like to call it, and change management, wherein customer journeys are leading. Knowing in particular processes what the customer experience is and where you need to make that difference. will ask for some changes in processes, procedures, etc. And those things need to be reinforced. And taking care of the human aspect in this, and that's also the hardest one because you really want to change mindsets. That's the change management part. And yeah, that is also a little bit intertwined within the first two. But definitely besides that, you can do some other things as well. And it's really about inspiring people, training people, bringing people along step by step. And when it comes to the reinforcement in the change management, it really helps that people have a tangible customer experience. I don't know if this is sounding familiar for you, but you usually see, or often see, I must say, at least from my experience, that, for example, ICT and finance people usually say, like, a customer experience, it's so fluffy. But it's not fluffy, but you need to measure it to make it tangible. And it can be done by data within your systems. But also, if you connect it then with customer feedback, you have a very rich foundation to improve on and set priorities eventually. And let's be honest, what gets measured gets done, because then it's important. And when you know where you are standing, that gives you something to improve on. And eventually, if that gets recognized, then people get that positive energy and probably will run a lot faster to make things even more better. So those measurements are really part of your learning loop, and they help you to reinforce customer experience within the organization and help you to feed that change management as well. Because change does not happen by measurement. It helps you to support the change you are looking for. So I'm not sure how much you are aware of different type of measurements, but just to make sure, I'm going to give you a short explanation about what transactional measurements are. Because there is a fundamental difference with relational measurements. Relational measurements, like the 1-year NPS I was talking about, are really designed to assess the strength of the relationship with the customer. And often you also see that companies don't do it even once a year, but like once per 1.5 or 2 years. If you want to do this in a strategical manner, you need to look at the right questions, but also are you measuring on a random moment? Also to use that moment to become top of mind again. When it comes to transactional, it's rather different because you really want to have a customer's opinion about a certain business transaction. And usually you see in invitations that there is been spoken of recent context. So therefore, especially when it comes to transactional measurements, you really need to know that you are going to measure the right things. What do you want to measure? And therefore, you also need the scoping of the process from a customer perspective. So where does the customer journey start and where does it end? For us, when it comes to, for example, the delivery journey, we saw that the customer starts thinking about receiving his product at the moment the order was confirmed. So that's the beginning of that journey. And it ends at the moment that he receives his product and everything is okay. So if there is something not okay, it's not finished yet. And there's also a little bit alignment with the complaint process in that sense. But think of it yourself, at least for the ladies in this school. When you buy clothing and you really like it and you come home and you show it to your husband and he says like, I really don't like that dress. You want to bring it back as well. So then the shopping experience is not stopped yet. It's done when you or bought a new dress, which he does like, or you brought it back and got back your money. So those are metaphors you can use to get a grip on that logic. But within such a process, there are different moments that are more relevant than others for customers. And when it comes to delivery, for example, is really the moment of delivery. An example, how does the customer receive his products? Are they damaged? Yes or no? Is the person handing it over? Is he friendly? Is he professional? Is the customer helped with receiving the products? And for example, there are a lot of big pallets coming out of that truck in our case, and well, the customer in that moment is really busy with his daily operations, and he does not actually want to be disturbed. So how can a driver in that sense help that customer in a good way to make a difference in that so important moment for that customer? And then what can be answered by data within that customer journey? Because you usually see that people would like to see or like to measure pretty much everything within a process. And a lot of things can already be measured by systems. However, you need to design it too. So think about what you want to know from an operational perspective, and then also combine it with the customer feedback. It really enriches your insights, and it explains you a little bit more on why are the things they are. So why is it important to do this? Well, it's about stimulating change, like I earlier mentioned. It is about KPI, setting KPI, because that makes you able to manage on customer experience. And especially when you create some questions that are directly related to those moments that are really important for customers, you make it also recognizable for particular departments, for example. When it comes to our delivery process, there are some questions directly related to a moment that customer service is the leading party. But there is also a moment we are measuring, or we're starting to measure right now, that transport and logistics are directly related to, and therefore the driver. So you can actually also use it for, contract settlement, for example. We bring our products to our customers by the help of third parties. So you might want to bring something into your service level agreements and have discussions about it. And that is also about reinforcing customer experience, because then you're starting to measure on it, manage on it, and creating ownership. And in our case, also with the third parties, because customer experience is not only within the organization, but it's also, especially in our case, we are depending on third parties. You want to create that ownership for customer experience there just as much as within Groden. And it's about learning and understanding what is in the mind of the customers. So you have a learning and an understanding curve. And without this learning and understanding curve and doing things with your insights, without it, it's not improving anything from a customer perspective. So this is really important to take into account. You really need to do something with it to make the customer take it seriously as well, and make them see that we are improving based on their feedback. So in those details, insights will help us to create an organizational design that is fitting to the desired customer experience. And basically what it comes down to is that you can do a lot of things. You can design and create, but you need people to make that dream a reality. And then I come back to what gets measured, gets done and improved. And if recognized, it becomes even better. You really need people to make that change. So what are we expecting from it? We are getting feedback from customers, which is directly related to the specific transaction. For the example, delivery, and that makes it the insights that are coming from there are recognizable for different departments and maybe even particular individuals. And it gives an ability for and to change, because you create a burning platform. And it's also about creating that ownership. Right now, well, not right now, it's improved a lot, but in the beginning at least, customer experience was, yeah, that's Gerda. And no, customer experience is something from all of us, and we need to take that ownership. And these measurements really, again, make it very much more tangible to be able to create that ownership at different levels within the organization. And it creates therefore also a more detailed understanding about customer needs, pains, gains, etc. And it will help us to steer and govern on a daily basis, and not only complaints at a one-time-a-year measurement on NPS. So there are particular things to take into account setting up a measurement. It all starts with the objective. So what do you want to know and why? Well, this is an open door probably. But you also need to think about, what do I like to do with the feedback and how do I want to use it? And is it only for a learning curve, or is it also something I want to bring back to KPIs, service level agreements, to use it as input for that? Do I want to change performance forms for that? That we are assessing people on customer experience. So you can make it as broad and as narrow as you like, but make sure that you have a clear objective why you are going to do this. And then you also need to look at what is the right methodology to do this. If you really want to get a sense of the experience in general, to get a sense of what are the moments that make a difference, I would really recommend you to do an interview. However, when you want to create a continuous listening loop and learning loop within the organization, a survey might work well. So you really need to think of what is the right methodology to find the answers. And when you are going to design a survey and set it live, what is the timing of that survey? I want to send out a survey after the delivery process took place, after 2 days, because then the experience is still fresh in their mind. And then I get the most honest questions. Plus, the stress came down a little bit because everything is arranged in that sense. You need to think about target group, because I can send a survey about the delivery experience towards a director. However, there are particular persons we really need to contact for delivery. So they are a better target group in that sense, because they really know what's going on during that delivery. Also, you need to think about how many surveys do you send over time, and not only with a particular transaction and per customer, but also that there are multiple surveys. So you want to look at, okay, this contact is now contacted for this particular survey. That means that, no, I'm just saying something, in 6 months he will not get any survey. That's all about not over questioning your customer. And how many questions do you want to have in that particular survey? World is going fast. People are getting tired to fill in surveys because, well, we have the experience, at least in the Netherlands, in that sense, that even on Schiphol, we ask our customer about their satisfaction on the toilet. Was your toilet experience according to your satisfaction? Yeah, if we go down that road, then yeah, people are getting tired of filling out surveys. However, if you can show customers that you are really acting upon them and make them aware how you use the feedback in general to improve on, they feel taken seriously and are more engaged to fill out a survey somewhat later in time. And of course, the kind of questions. NPS is not a holy grail. You also have the customer effort score, you have customer satisfaction, which are maybe better applicable for a certain survey. So for the delivery survey we are implementing right now, or actually it's close to go live, we use the customer effort score because that's more applicable. we want to know the effort that the customer has taken, for getting his product delivered in the right manner. So think about the right questions in that sense as well. And within our context, we are the first within ROCKWOOL doing this. So I always get a little bit scary when those things happen. So I always start with like, okay, what if I fall? But yeah, again, if you do it the right way, what if you fly? So yeah, let's hope that this will be the beginning of a new era, and continuously listen to our customers even better. So thank you. This is what I wanted to tell you.